Imagine building a successful business, years of sweat and sacrifice, only to be lured by a promise so seductive, so seemingly bulletproof, it felt like a dream. Own nothing, control everything. This wasn't just a slogan. It was the mantra of a financial cult that promised ultimate freedom from taxes, but delivered only ruin. This is the story of a sophisticated illusion that would cost hundreds of successful business owners their life savings, their reputations, and their freedom, while defrauding the U.S. government of over $40 million. At the heart of this deception was Timothy McPhee, a man who built a sprawling financial network right here in the United States. From February 2018 to September 2023, McPhee and his network of charismatic promoters, including his spouse Marsha Predmore, and figures like Larry Connor and Roderick Prescott, spun a web of sham trusts and foundations across the nation. Their pitch was irresistible, a secret pathway to legally shield up to 98% of your business profits from federal income taxes. A dream of liberation for those weary of hefty tax bills. For high-net-worth individuals, successful business owners tired of seeing their hard-earned money vanish into tax coffers, this was a beacon of hope. The promise wasn't just tax savings. It was financial freedom, a complete liberation from the system. Clients paid anywhere from $25,000 to an astounding $225,000 just to set up these elaborate structures. They were buying into a dream, a lifestyle, sold through seminars, workshops, and even podcasts, like Marsha Predmore's ironically titled Ordinary Women, Extraordinary Wealth, which promised riches but led countless clients into financial devastation. How could they manage to convince so many that this was not just legitimate, but a stroke of genius? But how did this dream of freedom actually work? The core of the own nothing, control everything scheme was an abusive trust tax shelter designed to create a false paper trail so intricate. It was meant to confuse and deter any scrutiny. Think of it like this. You have a wallet full of cash. You don't want the tax man to know it's your cash. So you create a series of increasingly elaborate, opaque boxes. A business trust, a family trust, a charitable trust, a private foundation. You then pretend to put your cash into these boxes, one after the other, making it seem like you no longer own it. Your business income, which should be taxed, was diverted into these layered trusts. On paper, it vanished from your personal balance sheet. But here's the crucial twist. While you technically owned nothing on paper, you secretly controlled everything. You still pulled the strings. Your personal living expenses, your car payments, your mortgage, even your groceries, were fraudulently claimed as business deductions through these trusts. Funds donated to sham private family foundations were secretly funneled back for your personal benefit. It was a sophisticated illusion, a shell game where the shells were legal documents and the P was your money, never truly out of your reach, just hidden from the IRS. It wasn't legitimate tax planning. It was direct, blatant, and criminal tax evasion. Even as the scheme gained momentum, the warning signs were flashing neon. Attorneys, certified public accountants, and even official IRS guidance repeatedly issued clear warnings. This trust-based scheme was illegal. Yet, the promoters, driven by the lure of massive fees, deliberately ignored every single one. One key figure, Roderick Prescott, a central promoter, had a prior tax evasion conviction. He was permanently barred from promoting such schemes, yet he brazenly continued his illicit activities, operating in the shadows, fueled by greed. And Timothy McPhee himself wasn't just focused on this tax shelter. He was simultaneously running a separate, multi-million-dollar investment fraud scheme, the ROI Cash Flow Fund. This wasn't just negligence. It was a pattern of calculated, deliberate deception from the very top. How could they get away with it for so long? But even the most complex illusions eventually unraveled. The IRS, always vigilant, began to see the patterns, the suspicious financial movements. The false paper trails, no matter how elaborate, couldn't withstand forensic scrutiny. In September 2023, the first hammer blow fell. Timothy McPhee and Larry Connor were indicted by a federal grand jury. The net quickly widened. By April 2024, a superseding indictment brought more key players into the spotlight. Marsha Predmore, Roderick Prescott, Suzanne Thompson, who operated the CFO agency preparing fraudulent financial statements, and Weldon Wolstein, a CPA who prepared hundreds of false tax returns for the scheme's clients. The dream of owning nothing, controlling everything, was rapidly becoming a nightmare of charges and indictments. The fallout was catastrophic. For the U.S. government, this scheme resulted in approximately $40 million in unpaid federal income taxes, money that should have funded public services, now simply gone. But the true devastation was felt by the hundreds of high-net-worth business owners who had bought into McPhee's promises. Imagine that successful small business owner, the one we talked about earlier, now facing years of audits, crippling back taxes, exorbitant penalties, and staggering interest payments. Their retirement savings, their life's work, their entire future suddenly at risk. They face potential criminal charges for tax evasion, the loss of their hard-earned reputation, and the crushing weight of betrayal. Their trust shattered, their peace of mind vanished. In December 2025, Timothy McPhee, the architect of this grand illusion, was sentenced to 151 months, over 12 and a half years, in federal prison for conspiracy, tax evasion, wire fraud, and his separate investment fraud scheme. Just months later, in June 2026, Marsha Predmore, Roderick Prescott, Suzanne Thompson, and Weldon Wolstein were all convicted by a federal jury. The guru's promise of freedom had led only to incarceration and financial ruin for countless others. The allure of owning nothing, controlling everything, is powerful, a siren song for anyone burdened by financial obligations. But as the story of Timothy McPhee and his tax haven cult shows, true financial freedom is not found in elaborate illusions or fraudulent schemes. It's found in transparency, integrity, and the hard-won trust that, once shattered, is almost impossible to rebuild. For those who chase the impossible promise of a shortcut, the cost is always far higher than any tax bill. It's a fundamental truth we see repeated throughout history. When something sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. And the consequences, as hundreds of victims discovered, can crush millions.